I do not envy the artist, and it's not just because they're broke. Now, don't get me wrong, everyone enjoys making art here and there as a hobby. I loved making art when I was a kid, and you could see that in the ingenuity of my craft. Days and nights consisted of my skill developing. One day I drew AI, the day after that I drew AI again, but this time it was better. Progress was a great feeling. I always felt like I was learning something new with every stroke I put down on paper, combining all these strokes to make something you could recognize as an instant result of your skill. What a fantastic feeling. If there was one thing I learned from pursuing art as a hobby, it's that I would fucking hate having a career as an artist. Art was meant to stay as a hobby for me. It was an escape from the reality of a failing education that taught me, once your escape from reality becomes taxed, it suddenly becomes a lot less fun. Like way less fun. Like I might overdose before my 40s less fun. Artists have it rough, because those strokes you put down on a canvas become a lot less provocative when money's involved. After a while, art has a new word. Trash. This is trash. That is trash. Everything is trash, and I am trash as well. There is a job worse than the artist, however, because even though an artist needs money to live, it's not animating. The medium of art becoming an assembly line of drawings one by one, stroke by stroke, the thriving creativity of an idea sucked away as you are no longer creating characters. You are creating figures. Figures you can hardly recognize as anything other than a model with movement. Figures that the company needs to make more figures. Figures that take so much time, money, patience, life. This is your life. Before I continue talking about the animator any further, I want to ask a few questions to them. Who did this to you? What's wrong with you? When did it all go wrong? Where did it all go wrong? Why and how are you still animating? Leave your answers in the comments below. And if you subscribe, be sure to like as well as subscribe, because the like and the comment are the subscribe to support the subscribe the channel, give bell notification, like channel support. Thank you. I only ask because I'm concerned, because I have never seen someone put themselves through such agonizing work conditions just to make a fucking Among Us twerking video. This guy had to draw Among Us ass cheeks 5 times in order to create that loop, which really gives you an idea of how emotionally numb some of these people are. I've talked with animators before, but that's about it though. Small talk. I've never conversed with an animator, I've never seen them talk with enthusiasm about anything. I've seen an animator excited, but never happy. I've seen an animator sulk, but never cry. I've never seen an animator angry, but I have definitely seen a passive-aggressive animator. I have a hypothesis. Animators aren't completely human. I'd put them around at that 75–80% human range, right above people who make those TikToks at double speed. Something's definitely missing there. Because let's be honest here, you've definitely lost a little humanity when you've ironically made something that took just a little too much time to make. Having no humanity can be good sometimes, you know, like a good studio job. I'm sure those employees at DreamWorks are perfectly fine losing a little bit of their soul every time a new Boss Baby comes out. But with YouTube anyways, because of how dynamic a platform it is, there are stages of dehumanization that you can be diagnosed with as an animator. Because YouTube isn't exactly a land of creative fruition. The least dehumanized, the first tier, are people who not only took some time to animate, but actually decided to focus on things other than drawing that can improve their animations. Writing, audio, living your life more fully. I'm convinced these people are not human and they were just born on planet Earth purely to make videos. The other kind of original animator are middle schoolers trying their damn best. Middle schoolers aren't exactly bound by culture, and most of the time there is no meaning to anything they actually make. They still have that humanity in them when animating, so it's really tragic to watch a lot of these videos knowing they're gonna have an animated avatar talk about Nintendo products within 7 years. Next is your animator that animates over existing audio. You take some audio that already exists and you put your own artistic spin on it, which is what most animators initially do. Usually the original clip is funnier than the Deltarune animation, but it's a good way for people to practice their animation skills so they can accomplish bigger and better things in the future, unless they get stuck in their own hellish nightmare animating Let's Play clips. Then there's the people who animate memes. This isn't like parody. Ironically enough, parody goes into that original category I was mentioning earlier. These are the people who take an already popular concept and make it into a 30-second video. Now there's nothing inherently wrong about this, or inherently right. There's actually nothing inherent about making a meme in the first place. All I can say is that you put more work into something compared to everyone else, that'll become irrelevant in 2 weeks. Good job, I guess. Also, this is the softcore pornography tier. The fourth tier is people who animate their life story. The problem with animators that talk about their life stems from the fact that they're an animator, and their life isn't that interesting. Let me guess, you had a group project in high school and one person didn't do any work. Oh, you worked at retail and had a bad customer experience? That's wild, bro. I get that it seems tempting to write about your life, but from the bottom of my heart, don't. Oh, you had a near-death experience? Was it shocking? Were you shocked that you almost died that one time? I'd rather watch a video about oyster crackers than about your life specifically. Because the oyster cracker is elusive. They're designed for soup, but it just doesn't work. Take your average saltine cracker in a bowl of soup. By natural instinct, you dip the saltine cracker in the soup. This is universal law for any cracker. Crackers were meant to be dipped. Not the oyster cracker, however, no sir. Because oyster crackers are these dime-sized puffs of wheat that are too small to dip. So what's their purpose? Based on their size, it's like you're meant to eat them like goldfish. But why not just eat goldfish? When was the last time an oyster cracker gave you an assuring smile before stuffing a handful into your mouth? It's just that oyster crackers are more interesting than your life. They just waste more time telling their life story than that one friend who somehow tries to top themselves on how miserable they can make their life sound every time you meet them for lunch. Then there's the fifth tier, the At the end of the day, I can talk about how your life isn't interesting, but even then, people really don't like it when you say anything remotely negative about the content an animator makes. It is true that when you animate, a lot of your hard work goes unnoticed and even unappreciated. Hours of slaving away just for someone to say that your characters look unoriginal. But I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Everyone's job goes underappreciated. Janitors, accountants, farmers who get global warming as a token of gratitude, and don't even get me started on those children in the Congo. The only difference is those little African children get about 1/100th of the attention that crunch culture gets. I just get annoyed at how defensive people can get when someone decides to criticize an animator. Let me use an example. It all started when someone gave an opinion on Twitter. There was a 17-year-old who just decided to talk about an animator, claiming they're talented and all, but they can be making better content, not exactly sending a death wish. But a different animator, Circletoons, saw this tweet. Now, how do you think Circletoons reacted? Did he A. Ignore?
This sounds like it's so embarrassing to an animation art community. Talented, full stuff. You can't let us just You'll never grow by dragging others down.
Now, Circletoons is completely in his right to respond to something he disagrees with, but I feel like he should take into consideration that this 17-year-old has less than 2,000 followers on Twitter. And Circletoons has 138,000 followers on Twitter, along with 2 million subscribers on YouTube. Not to mention, his inner circle of goons piggybacked this tweet. Once again, they're completely entitled to respond and give their opinion, but I feel like they need to ask themselves something first. Was this the best use of their clout? Like, imagine if the CEO of Taco Bell made a public broadcast just to shit on a local restaurant who said they didn't like KFC. Also, the passive aggressiveness I was mentioning earlier really comes to shine here. Like, motherfucker said talent is talent, full stop. The only people who say full stop are also the same people that make you talk to the hand like fucking mean girls. Like, you could have said anything to this 17-year-old. If I were you, I would have been way harsher. Give them a reason to stay off Twitter until they're 18. So I'll just say, Circletoons,
shut your ass up, you 7-Eleven iced honey bun looking ass. You made a video about how YouTube recommends videos. I recommend you stop being more sensitive than your uncle's nipples on job. Gonna put your animations at 60 frames per second out of spite. When you play Smash Bros, you choose Rob as your name, which is short for why are you playing Smash? Your mama extra on Family Guy. Your mama uses Lay's chips as a pillow. Me, sounding ass. Finish in your fridge and you gonna eat for breakfast next morning. No hesitation. Big ass boy beef when a 17-year-old be bad looking bitch.
Real talk. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Old as you is.
I do not envy the animator. They have a medium that allows them to basically combine art, music, and writing into one package, but that much freedom can become overwhelming very easily, because if you only focus on the music, you become a musician. If you only focus on the writing, you become a writer. And if you only focus on the art, you become a boring animator. If you are an animator watching this that gets beat up over negative comments online, find someone who hates your content and ask them why. And if they can't come up with a straight answer, then don't sulk about it. Laugh at their fucking face.
Is that the Grand Slam?
The what?